Hello, welcome to my series of videos on my book Philosophizer's Bible, and this is number 21, looking at chapter 21, The World and I. This is quite an important chapter, and I'm going to first of all show you something. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. It's a blog that I did called Hedgehog Philosopher, and that was back in 2010. And it marked a turning point in my thinking, I suppose you could say. I really scared myself, and that was the first time I really considered the possibility that all this really is just the evil demon. And I did talk about this a little bit in my YouTube video, Return of the Evil Demon, and also had a chapter on this in my earlier book, Philosophizer. It all started with a review of the very first version of my book, Naive Metaphysics, and that was a review by Oxford University Press. It had two anonymous readers, and one of them compared me to a hedgehog. He quoted a saying which was actually used by Isaiah Berlin in an article. The fox knows many things, the hedgehog knows only one thing. In this sense, Klempner is a hedgehog, he said. The one thing Klempner knows is that the world is and will always be something absolutely other than I. There's two things, me and the world, not one thing. I'm not just one of the bits of the world, I'm something extra added on top. And there are lots of different ways of taking that, lots of different ways of developing that thought. But the crudest and the scariest is the idea that Descartes had when he was considering skepticism, or the possibility of skepticism, that none of this is real. There is no real world, there's just me and the evil demon producing ideas in my soul. Do I believe that to be true? No. But it's a way of seeing the world that I find compelling. Another way of looking at this would be to consider it as a family story. If you remember, I talked about religion as a family story. The idea of a loving father and his children who are rewarded if they obey and punished if they disobey, etc., etc. And the various religions add on bits, Mother of God, Son of God, etc., etc. Angels, archangels. And the evil demon story is also a family story, except that's just the two of us. The evil demon and me. Why that should be the case, well, who knows? But that's just, a belief, a theory, a picture in the head, that's all. As I said, I find it compelling as a way of looking at the world. And in those terms, you, whoever is watching this video, is just one aspect of the evil demon. But if that's true, how is it you don't know that it's true? Maybe you do, right? Maybe all the other people in the world really do know that they are the evil demon. But I suspect that that's not the case. That it's just as likely that I could be the evil demon as you could be, And where does that leave us? Scary. But really, the real point about this is that whatever story you accept about the universe is just a story. The ultimate truth is unknowable because of the cosmic stop sign. And I've said this before, I'm not really saying anything different from what Kant said in his philosophy, that there's the phenomenal world, the world we all inhabit, the world of science, the world where we explain things, and then the noumenal world, ultimate reality, which is unknowable. Anyway, without more ado, we're very nearly 2/3 the way through the book now. Here is one question that up until now I haven't thought to ask, did you? Who says that the world would still be here, exactly as it is now, this desk, these hands, my body, all exactly the same, if I were gone? Who says that the instantaneous disappearance of I would not also be the disappearance of the world? When I go, if I were to flicker out of existence from one moment to the next, or for no reason at all, then maybe so does the world. That means you, everything. Why not? It's a question Descartes asked in his Meditations on First Philosophy, but he put it slightly differently. Suppose that this world was just a virtual reality created in my mind, my soul, by an evil demon. A dream, in other words. How would I ever find out? Everything remains as solid as before. Dream or no dream, demon or no demon, this desk is still a desk. These hands are still hands. So there is no way I could ever know one way or the other. Famously, Descartes goes on to offer a proof that the evil demon hypothesis is false. You already know what we think of proofs in philosophy, but this one's a doozy. God exists, and Descartes thinks he can prove that. Let's not go into the gory details. God would never pull the evil demon trick on me. He's too good for that. Who says? So the world must be real, after all. But didn't I state that for Philosophizer, the world is a dream? I didn't mean it literally. Not in the way Descartes meant it. The world is a dream because nothing is what it is. When you discover the question, when you are filled with the wonder, it is as if before everything was up and now everything is down. Things don't literally change. It's worse than that. When things change in your world, you can track their changes. But now the things around you stand mute, expressionless, seemingly unchanged from what they were a moment before. You stare at them in shock and amazement, and all they can say back to you is, "What?" From now on, and for as long as you live, unless you are lucky enough to suffer total amnesia, all the familiar things you once took for granted that made up your world are no longer what they are, or rather, what you take them to be. This desk is not a desk. These hands are not hands, etc. We philosophizers know that the world is the strangest thing imaginable, and that's the truth. It is an impossible entity. We really don't know. No one can know what it is. We know that we are interacting with something, and that something has a familiar face that it always presents to us, reliably, never letting us down, even when it surprises us, when it pulls the rug from under our feet with some natural disaster or man-made catastrophe. A face, a facade, nothing more. Behind that facade could be anything or nothing. Why did Descartes need an evil demon? If this is all my dream, why should there be anything out there making me have my dream? Descartes was speaking to a lay audience, as we are. He knew that if he'd said, "Suppose that all this is a dream, but nothing is producing the dream," his readers would have rejected that idea as utterly ridiculous. Things don't just happen for no reason at all. The notion of cause and effect is part of common sense. Well, I've already raised questions about cause and effect, but this is the point. We believe in it, totally. The evil demon is a wild idea, but at least it makes some sort of sense. We can imagine it. You could even make a movie of it. Whereas a dream happening for no reason at all, not caused, is beyond imagining. I don't find the idea ridiculous. This desk, this planet, this galaxy, this universe could all be me. No evil demon, just me. I don't believe that. I'm just saying what could be. That is to say, I am prepared to entertain the idea that I am God. Am I God? If that is the case, and there is a religious tradition that holds that I am God, but so are all of you. We are all it, as Alan Watts says. If that's the case, then why am I keeping myself so in the dark? Invent any reason you like. Tell any story you like. It really doesn't matter. The idea that really grips me, however, the thought that I just can't get out of my head, is that all this isn't me being God, and it isn't a real world either. In reality, at the core, there are only two entities in existence, and neither of them is a world. There is me, and there is the evil demon. Not so evil, of course. In the French version of the Meditations, Descartes uses the less loaded term mauvais génie. Mauvais means naughty, tricksy, whereas the French for evil is diabolique. So it's not a diabolique even, it's just a mauvais demon. There is an adversary out there playing tricks on me, or making moves on me, for some unknown reason or purpose. Not the devil, just a mischief maker. The two of us, you and I, as in the song. There is something, someone, resisting me. Something I have to fight against. A fight to the death, maybe. For sure, this is a fight I cannot win. Or maybe the whole thing ends in stalemate. Well then, let's carry on to the point of exhaustion and beyond. The world, my world, is the evil demon. The faces of every human being who has ever crossed my path are the faces of the evil demon. When I interacted with them, it was the evil demon all along. Do I believe that? No, I don't think so, anyway. But it's an image, a powerful image of the predicament I find myself in, as an I confronting a world. It isn't necessary to discuss the reality behind the image, and impossible too. You can never get past the cosmic stop sign. Believe what you like to believe. I believe that other people are real, but I also believe, at some level, deep down maybe, that despite everything, despite all my common sense tells me, all this is just some kind of game or test. Whatever it is, it makes no sense. Nothing adds up. To be human is to be condemned to live in the dark. I suppose this is me sounding my most religious, but of course I would say there isn't a trace of religion in me. I think that the most fundamental thing you need for religion is, well, I don't even know if that's true, but in most religions, a belief in the fundamental goodness of the universe, or the goodness of the source of my being, or whatever. I said I don't know if that's necessarily true, because of course there's Satanists, but they believe in a kind of goodness conceived as liberation, and they see that the religions they're against as actually strangling man's potential. So they believe in a kind of a goodness as well, a possibility of perfection. I don't accept that. I don't think the universe is good or evil. My position, if you can call it that, is that there is something that I can never know, that we can never know. And you can believe whatever you like. It's just a belief. Put forward any theory you like, it's just a theory. Just pictures in the head. It makes no difference. But I've made up my mind that I'm not going to believe things just because they make me feel good or for any other reason. I know what I know. I know that at this very moment I'm making a video. I know that I'm in Sheffield. I know that the Earth goes round the sun. I know a fair bit of science because I studied it at school, history, geography, etc. I know lots of facts. Philosophers should know lots of things besides philosophy, as I once said. But all that, or information, is just information about the world of our experience. What is ultimately the case, reality, ultimate reality, the core, whatever you want to call it, is beyond reach, absolutely beyond reach. And people who choose to believe, well, I just don't understand the point of it. I choose not to believe. I choose to stand here loudly proclaiming that I refuse to believe. But, as I said, there is that horrible thought that this is some kind of a test for no purpose that I can discern. And, my very best efforts to do well in this test could actually be the opposite. The more I try to do well, the worse I do. Or whatever. So in the end, the only thing that I've got is my motivation. Things that make me carry on. The things, my motivation to write, for example. And I have thought that maybe this is the last book I'll ever write, I don't know. But I've got other things that interest me, that grip me. You can only just go on. I just want to make you see, that's all. Even if you doubt just a little bit the things that you've maybe believed in the past. If you just allow a little bit of a question mark to enter into your consciousness, maybe that would be enough for me. That's all for today. See you next time.